Peace and blessings, love and light. And welcome to another edition of How Now, where we talk about how to live in the now. I'm your host, Kim Martin Raymond, minister, life coach, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where we talk about how to realign ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. We are well on our way into 2021. And one of the things that we tend to do going into the new year is we go and we start cleaning house, start getting things in order and preparing ourselves for the new year. And we typically do that 2 times a year. We do that at the beginning of the year, and then we see it in the spring when people do their spring cleaning and they go in and they start, doing overhauls and going through their garages and their closets and starting to see what things they want to get rid of and things that they want to place into order. And my guest who is here today is going to talk about some of the things that she's doing to help people find order and peace in their lives. And today's show is entitled House Cleaning, House Cleansing, or Both. So without any further ado, as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to ask my guest to introduce herself, because when we introduce ourselves to the world, we present ourselves in a way that we want to be received. So at this time, I'm going to ask my guest to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Andrea Hutchison. I am 52 years old. I am a mother of 7, a grandmother of 3.
All right.
I'm an entrepreneur of 2 businesses. I'm in a movie, I'm in a play, and
Hey.
God is so wonderful. He has turned my life around.
Yes, yes. Well, hi, welcome, Andrea. I am so glad that you are here. And let me tell you something about this young lady here, because we have history. Okay, all of our Bayside High School alumni, rise up. Andrea and I went to high school together, and it has been a month of Sundays since we've seen each other. But
Yes,
I mean, when you're family and when you're connected, when you come back together, it's like you never left. And
exactly.
that has been a blessing, and me being able to reunite with her and to be able to be in the space and talk about what we're going to talk about this evening, which is that house cleaning and house cleansing. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to the pandemic. What's going on with you?
Prior to the pandemic, I'm a CNA/PCA. Been doing that for 30 years. Been with my company for 16 years, going on 17 years.
Wow. Wow. And so you were doing that, and then the pandemic hit.
And then, and then the pandemic hit. My last day of work was March 21st, when I was stricken with not COVID yet. I had laryngitis and strep throat, and days later, I was feeling sluggish. And my sister kept saying, "Go to the doctor, go to the doctor." And I was like, "Nah, I'm fine. I don't have nobody's COVID. It didn't get me. I don't go
Right.
nowhere. I'm home." And long and behold, I went to the doctor, and I came back tested positive. I couldn't
Wow.
fold clothes. I was striking fevers. And then it was like a Mack truck just ran me over. I couldn't get out the bed.
Wow. 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 And how long does that go on for?
I was out of work from March 21st to the middle of September, when I went back to work full
Oh,
time.
wow. So you out and you had COVID that entire time?
I was out of work for all the months.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. And that's something I'm sure that was difficult to deal with, as you
It was, yes, because when you have kids,
yes.
but God sustained me. Not one time did I murmur and complain,
There you go.
because I knew He had me.
See, that, honey, and that's a blessing, and we're glad you're here. A lot of people have been, stricken with COVID, and it doesn't seem like the outcome has been the same for anybody. There have been,
Right.
different. There have been long haulers. I had a guest who was on the show previously, who is a long hauler and is still suffering some of the effects. Are you still suffering any of the effects at this time?
They say you could tend to have memory loss. I don't claim it,
There you go.
but that's what's happening. But I don't claim it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't claim it at all.
Awesome. Awesome, Macy, and that's good. And I'm just glad that you are in a space of peace and that you're in recovery and that all
Yes.
is well. So all of those months out. And so what happened after that? Did you return to work?
I went back to work. God opened the door. Well, I end up gaining weight. And so when I gain weight, I end up opening my own business, which is
Okay.
1 pound at a time for me to detox and start losing weight. And I started showing everybody. So I started losing weight with that. And then God took it a step further and we end up opening A Little Help Never Hurts.
A little help never hurts. And tell us a little bit about what that is.
Little Help Never Hurts is a cleaning business that my son decided, my oldest son, Christian, he gave me the business name and
Mhm.
he kept saying, Ma, you can do it. You can do it. I opened up that business because it was in April. I was out of work for, 2 weeks quarantine. And
Mhm.
my company, it was on a Thursday and I had to return back to work that Monday,
Mhm.
and the company didn't call me the whole time I was out and I was sick. They
Mm.
didn't say, how are you doing? Can we get you anything? They said to me, when are you returning back to work? Because your clients are waiting. And that hurt me to the bitter core because I'm like, I've been with you guys 16 years and this is
Yeah.
what you do to me. You don't ask me how I'm doing. No one came by to check on me, not even to leave a glass of orange juice or
Right.
anything, to check in on my kids to see how they was doing. Nothing. 16 years is a very long time. And I've been
Yes,
with
it
the
is.
company since they first started. And I'm like, wow. So I worked for a multi-million-dollar company. They started out as nothing, and now they're a multi-million-dollar company. And my son was asking me, Ma, well, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, I go and I do assessment. I wear many hats for my company.
Yes.
And one of the hats is I am a PCA with the company, but one of the hats is they started incorporating heavy chore, which is it's called heavy chore. We
Uh-huh.
have regular chore, and heavy chore is hoarders. So I started
Okay.
going in and I did a house for them, and I started doing assessments and looking around and being their eyes because they wouldn't go out in the field. So I
Okay.
started being their eyes and going into the homes and looking around and giving them a quote on how many hours it would take. Now, mind you, I would do that to have extra money in my pocket, but
Yes.
I still had to do my own cases.
Wow.
So it was like I was getting home 9, 10 o'clock at night after being at work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
And because I would do the hoarder homes for them and then turn around and do my regular cases in between of going to the hoarder homes. So I was burning myself out and I did that for many years. And when they did that to me during COVID, that opened up my eyes that they don't even care about me.
Wow.
So now I know what not to do with my employees.
Okay. Okay. And now you're in a space where you can do that, where you have the capability to do that and the capacity to do that. And I mean, I just want to stop for a moment and just talk about that because, you know, we've been seeing period, we're talking about living in the now, and right now we're in this space of COVID, and we've seen many cases, and we have seen a lot of people not having as much sensitivity to the
Right.
fact that people are in pain, that they are going through this and not knowing what the outcome is going to be. There's some fear there, and we're not seeing as much empathy, and I
Right.
mean, not being able to really have people focus on how to get people back and to get people healthy. They're focusing on that dollar, and we talk about
Right.
2020, and it has definitely given us a clear vision of what people are really about. And I've seen the scales have fallen from a lot of people's eyes, and they're seeing things that they didn't see before. And
Yes. I leaned on God. It it co- it 2020 taught me to lean on God more than ever.
yeah.
I learned patience. I learned savings. I learned that God is my supplier of all of my needs.
Yeah.
My children didn't murmur and complain. I kept a smile on my face because I'm here. When
That's
I
right.
started seeing the numbers of people losing their life, and I looked around and I said, God, I thank you because you are a keeper, but He's
Yeah.
also a way maker. And
That's
He
right.
made a way for us to constantly pay my bills. My rent was paid, the light was paid, the gas was paid, the car note was paid. He sustained me.
Yes. See, and that's a blessing. That's a
And
blessing.
I,
And it's like you said, so he opened the doors to a little help never hurt. Like you said,
yes.
you started doing assessments, and you were talking about the hoarding. And is that one of your specialties?
That's one of my specialties is hoarding. My motto is if you ain't hoard in a year, you're never ever going to wear it. If you have not seen it in the year, that means close your eyes and shoot it away.
And that's true. That's true. You know, I'm one of those people. I have a lot of clothes, but I don't have any tags on them. I wear them actively and I rotate them. So yeah, but just like you said, so when you go in and you do these assessments, I mean, a hoarder, you know, you already know when you go in the door, there's stuff right at the door. You know, how do you go about helping them? Is it just you going in and cleaning the house, or is it that you're having a conversation with them as well? What is the process?
The process, I go in and I befriend them. And I don't really have to do much because my personality speaks for itself.
Okay.
And I go in and I sit and I talk to them. It's a way you have to talk to these clients because it's a mental health issue that they have.
Okay.
And God opened that door for I know our business is going to strive because my son graduated from Albertus with his bachelor's in psychology.
Nice.
So I know that that will also come into play with us doing the hoarder homes. It's a mental illness, and something triggered them to have this illness. A lot of the homes that I am in that I do is I stop evictions. They're on an eviction, so I will go in and I will sit and I will talk to them and I look around and after talking to them, they would ask me, "Are you coming back?" Because people will go in and they won't come back.
Right.
So I go in and I sit and I talk to them. A majority of the homes, I say 90% of the homes, the people are not returning back to their homes. And
Wow.
if they do return back to their home, they do return back to their home as if they first moved in it.
Wow. Wow. So how long does that process take? Is there a certain number of weeks or days that you
No,
know?
we just me and my children just finished a hoarder house that we did, and we quoted them 24 hours, and we did it in 22 hours. We did
Wow.
we did it took us 4 days to do the house,
Okay.
scrubbing down cabinets inside and out. Didn't even know the man had a kitchen table. We
Wow.
separated stuff so when he goes back home, now the people just got to go in and paint because we don't paint, but we do everything. We do shampoo in the rugs. We do laundry. That's included in our
Wow.
price. We organize your house for you. We get you on a narrow path. And mind you, a lot of these homes, the clients, they don't have much money.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to negotiate our price. We talk to the family members and we
Nice.
negotiate, we negotiate our price with the family according to their needs.
Okay. You see, and that's wonderful. Okay, so you go in, you clean it up, and then you're there when they come back in and see the end results.
No, I'm not there when they see the end results. We're
Wow.
not, but the family sees the end results, or the conservator, if they have a lawyer, they see the end result. I do have a portfolio that I do take before pictures,
Uh-huh.
and I do have after pictures of what we did to keep in my portfolio in my file, and we send it to the family, we send it to the lawyers, all the proper people that need to have the photos
Okay.
of the before and after because 9 out of 10 times they're not going into these homes. I'm their eyes and their
Right.
ears.
Right.
So I have to keep inventory of certain things in the home. And that's why we took out the insurance because people do lie and say, she took my $10,000 ring. And so that's why
Right.
we took out a lengthy insurance policy
Yeah.
just for that very reason. But we have lawyers and stuff that will handle that for us. We won't have
Right.
to handle any of that.
Right. Wow. So you see now that's interesting because like you said, you don't get to see the look on their face when they see their homes, but you at least go in and you help in the process. And you see, sometimes it's not for us to see everything to the end.
Right.
And this is a good example of that because sometimes we're there to plant the seeds to help to get them to a certain space. And then it's
Right.
up to them to move from that space. So it's good that you go in and you do the work on the front end to help them to get a mindset to be able to come back in and to be able to function in that space. And the hope, I'm sure, is that it's a space of peace for them and that
It
they're
is.
able to go back in there and to do that. So with that being said, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on, when even with your own personal cleaning, what does that do for a person mentally when they or have a space that's disheveled, or they have a space that's a little out of order, and they're seeking to really get that space back. What does that do for
First,
them?
I first what I do, I all before we even go in, we're a Christian cleaning business.
Okay.
So definitely, I'm definitely praying as I'm walking through the house. Cause
Hmm.
me, spiritually, I know spirits jump, and I don't know what these people have up in this house.
Right.
So I definitely pray before I'm walking through the house. But when we leave and the house is cleansed, my son has this thing that all the windows and all the doors have to be open.
Uh-huh.
So what I do is I pray. We pray after we leave the home, and I pray for peace.
Yeah.
That when they go back in their home, they have peace. Me, if my room is a disarray, I cannot function.
Uh-huh.
And to me, because cleanliness is next to godliness. How can I
Yes.
go in God's home and serve Him and be in His house knowing that my house is out of order?
Yeah.
So, making beds is something that I tell my kids to do on a daily. We have chores, we clean up because my mom always said it's easy to be a bum. Very
Okay.
easy to be a bum. And you can, even if you have dishes in your sink, you you cook something and you don't clean up, you're like, man, that is, and then somebody else coming. You don't want to go into a messy kitchen. You
Right.
don't want to sit at a messy table.
Right.
To me, everything has to be in order. I
Yes.
believe in order.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's something that, not a lot of people do. And it's interesting because, of course, in this COVID season, and because we have to do things virtually, now you have people coming into your home, whether you like it or not. And so you have a lot of people that are, exercising the use of those virtual backgrounds. So that way you don't
Yeah,
see the piles of things that are going on in their houses. And now, here it is. We're faced with having people come into our homes, and we're having to stage them so that they look acceptable. And I'm sure that some people are struggling with that because they're just like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna put up the little background, and then when it's over, I can go back to things
exactly,
being the way they
exactly,
are. So I'm sure that that's been a
exactly.
challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have those organizational skills, but it seems like what you're talking about, when there's order, there's peace, or there's just a
Yeah,
little bit more serenity. You can kind of, your mind isn't focused on all of those things that are piling up around you. You can focus on other things and move forward. So I'm
right.
sure that's part
Yeah,
of it. That is part of
yeah.
it. So I mean, it's been I'm sure a little bit of a journey so far in that, helping hoarders, helping other families to be able to get things, because you do not I mean, I know your specialty is hoarders, but you also do other families as well who.
I do families. We go in. I had a lady that called me and she asked me my price. I told her we charge anywhere from $28 to $40 depending on the job. When we
Right.
go in, we clean countertops, we wash floors, we do bathrooms, we wash walls. We have the equipment to do everything. So when I we leave your house, your stuff is shining.
Right.
Your stove is clean. We pull the stoves out. We pull the refrigerator out. We don't just do the cosmetic. We go deep inside.
Awesome. Awesome. And you see, and that's what people need, and that's what people want. And so like I said, we talked about the cleaning, we talked about the cleansing, we talked about how people deal with it on a mental level, and how there are definitely stages to that. But now I want to talk about how you're living in the now. What are some things that you're doing outside of just, you say a clean home. What are some other things that you are doing to live in the now?
Well, I have my kids, so we have movie night. My 8-year-old, I have movie night. I'm with a sisterhood, so
Mm-hmm.
I have a sisterhood group that I started with some phenomenal women. They don't live here, but like one of my good friends, Miss K. Miss K moved down south, and then I have my cousin that's here, and I have a couple of other people, all over.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is I hit them up and say, "What you guys doing on Saturday?" And they were like, "Oh, nothing." I was like, "All right, what you do is you go, excuse me, go get your snacks. We're gonna watch a movie." And we have movie night.
Nice.
And during the movie, we're texting each other during the movie as if we're right here.
Right.
So I have sisterhood, and I love sisterhood. And sisterhood is twice a month or 3 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
I have the sisterhood. Or I'll just sit back and I'll read and I'll watch TV. That's my now, because nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody goes to my kids go to their own destination, but I tell them that once a week we have to get together
Yeah.
and we sit and we talk. And my now is my kids. I work right across. God opened the door for me to work right across the street from my house.
Nice.
So I could walk out my front door and walk right across the street and walk into my client's house. And I have a good relationship with the family. I've been with them now since October,
Okay.
full time. And we just have a good, I go in there in the morning. Now the wife done got so comfortable that she sleep when I come in. I take care of her husband. She has her own aide that comes in, and we're like one big happy family over there. As long as everybody is doing their job, I play cards with them to keep their minds, because they're 86 years old. So we
Wow.
play cards, we talk, we laugh, we have such a good time. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, because we don't know the day nor the time nor the hour.
That's right.
So I like to make memories, and this is
Yes.
what I'm doing. I'm making memories.
That's awesome. And that's what being in the now is all about. It is about making those memories and being in the moment and being, present and having your eyes open to see when opportunities afford themselves. And as we can see, you've had an opportunity to, out in the midst of COVID, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of healing and all of those months that you went through of healing and recovering, to being able to come out on the other side and to start this wonderful business of, a little help, a little help never hurts, and to, work on those things that, are going to help others to ascend. And so, just like you said,
Yeah.
that's what living in the now is all about. So
Yeah.
please, before we leave, tell our listenership how they can contact you, how they can connect with you. What is your contact information?
Well, you could look me up on Facebook, Andrea Hutchison, or you could email me at andhut37@gmail.com. That's ANDHUT, the number 37 at gmail.com.
All right. And that's what we'll do. We make sure you write that down. ANDHUT37 at gmail.com. And you can look her up at Andrea Hutchison on Facebook. And remember, the name of the company is A Little Help Never Hurts. And she told us about her other business, 1 pound at a time. And we're going to have her come back to talk a little bit about that and talk about her journey, her weight loss journey, and the things that she has done to continue to keep her body in line and to keep her up with the 7 children that she has and all the activities that she's involved in. There are a lot of things going on, so we look forward to having you come back and tell us a little bit about that. But we thank you for coming on today,
It was my
and to talking about your
pleasure.
business and to talk about the things that you're doing in the now, and that's going to help us to be able to grow. So with that being said, I thank you all for being here. Do you have any parting words that you want to leave with our audience before we go?
I'll just tell everybody, love on each other. Love on each other and smile. My motto is, do not bring your yesterday into your today. That's going to determine your tomorrow. It's yesterday with past tense. Today is the present. Tomorrow is the future. Live in the now, like you said, which is your present.
Yes. All right. You heard it right here. And that's how we are living in the now. So thanks for joining us for another edition of
you are
How
so
Now.
welcome.
Yes, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until the next time I see you all, I say peace.